What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 167 of the Bench Time Podcast.
Yay!
With Todd and Brett Wiley of Wiley Scale Modeling. Hey, we just wanted a quick update. There was a video recorded last week. I didn't have time to do it.
Sometime.
I didn't have time to do it. Upload it. Edit needed a little bit of editing. Not a lot, but you know, I'm not gonna lie. It was a nice weekend. I was not home like the entire weekend, didn't get it done, spending time with the family, and then I had a shitty start to the week and just didn't get uploaded. So I don't need to get into why I had a shitty week. It was just a shitty week, and life goes on.
That's the end of story.
So anyways, there will be
It'll
video,
get up there when it gets up
and
there.
we're also missing the last 20 minutes of that episode, which does bother me actually more than the video.
Okay.
But I am going to re-upload the audio file, so that's actually going to be. It's actually getting uploaded as we speak right now.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even like doing video.
Well, but the
whole time I was sitting there,
but
I just feel self-conscious. I don't like doing video.
Anyways, the last 20 minutes though is actually more important to me to get uploaded because it just cuts off at like 2:30. Yeah. 2 hours and 30 minutes, as if that wasn't long enough for you guys. But I do want to get the last 20 minutes up, and I just have to re-upload the file, which is actually it's uploading right now as we are recording this. So you don't need to go find a different episode. By the time you're listening to this, the other episode or audio file should be replaced, and it should update. So you should be able to catch the last 20 minutes of that episode just to catch the ending. And I apologize for that. I don't know what happened when I was editing it. Somehow when I edited it, it chopped off that final 20 minutes. It was weird. I don't get it. Sometimes computers just do dumb stuff, and 99% of the time it's user error, so we'll just blame it on my stupidity, which won't be the first time either.
I'm not worried about it, man. It is what it is.
Well, no, but it just ends abruptly. I just want to get that uploaded.
Oh, it ends abruptly.
So, anyways.
We were probably well beyond any logical or meaningful conversation at that point. We got to a point last week where it was like near the end there where I was just barely keeping my eyes.
It was midnight.
Yeah. And so
anyways, no big deal. It was a fun week. But I will get that last 20 minutes up for you guys. And then the video will go up sometime. I don't know when, but it'll go up. All right. So that was the housekeeping at the beginning of the show here. I do have a question for you, Dad, and I posted that meme to your page. Where does a dinosaur like that wear a necktie? Does a dinosaur wear its necktie like that really high up on its neck or like low?
I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to mean.
I think a dinosaur would wear the necktie low. Like, you don't wear a necktie at the top of your neck. You wear them down low, at the bottom of your neck.
Right, sure. I would say low.
So the second picture, yeah.
Yeah.
Kid I work with thought it was the first one, and I'm like, why would you wear your necktie that high?
Well.
So we had a big debate about it.
He's wrong.
Well, I know. Well,
yeah.
Sometimes people are wrong.
Unless you like to hang it. If you put it up around the top of your neck and hang it down, you end up looking like Don Cherry. You know?
With your 6-inch high collar on your shirt.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't familiar with
Don Cherry,
if you're not familiar with Don Cherry and you're not a hockey fan, just look him up. He got a little controversial at the end of his career, but the beginning, the 80s and 90s were a better time for Don Cherry. We'll just say that. He started to become like the old man on the porch guy. Like, he just
get off my porch.
Well, he would
kind of like me.
He would just say like dumb shit on the air, and you're like, oh, what do you? No, dude, no.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right.
So we got a lot of things coming up here. So
we got the contest. By the way,
we got the contest.
The 2-inch by 2-inch contest is still going on.
Yeah.
The idea behind that is if you're part of the Overtime at the Bench listener group, you can get in there and join the contest for the only prize. It's not a great prize, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's a traveling trophy. You have until March 26th, so you still have 16 days to do it. It's not even a big build. We're doing a 2-inch by 2-inch diorama. Cannot overhang, but it can go unlimited height. You can be 2 inches by 2 inches, and then a foot tall. I mean, whatever you're building, I don't know what that would look like. That'd be weird. But the traveling trophy is a kind of a golden Oscar-looking trophy that I picked up on one of those like cheap Crown Trophy websites.
Yeah.
And then each person that wins it gets to add something to the trophy. Or subtract something. Who knows? We might cut an arm off or something. But we glue a G.I. Joe arm to the trophy.
Trophies are cheap, by the way. But for people who don't know.
It was like $4. But
you can buy big, giant monster trophy and pay like $20 and have this monster trophy that looks like the Stanley Cup.
But, I mean, it's made out of like plastic. And if you drop it once, it's shattered. But it looks cool. But... the traveling trophy is, I think it's been to like 4 houses now across the country. And when you win it, whoever has it now, it's an honor system. So you win it, don't be an asshole and keep the trophy forever. When you win it, you get it to keep it until the next contest winner wins it. And then it gets shipped to that person. So don't join the contest if you're not willing to pay $5 or so to ship it in a USPS flat rate box to someone else. Like, don't be that guy. It's kind of for fun. We're all in it for fun. So do your diorama build. You get the traveling trophy. It'll be funny. You get to keep it for a couple months. Add something funny to it. Paint something weird on them. I don't know. Have fun with it. It's our trophy to pass around. And then there's a letter I think I sent with it originally. Hopefully that still exists, that people can add to the letter as we pass it on. But anyway, so if you want to join the listener group contest build this month, you have till the 26th. You can message me on Facebook or email me the entry picture, and then we'll put it on Facebook. Everyone will vote by reacting to it for like a week, and then the one with the most reactions wins that contest build. So that's going on.
I think it's great.
It's I don't know, it's a fun, like, hokey, dumbass looking trophy thing that we get to pass around.
Right.
And we get to build something cool. There's some cool. I know Dan Banks and Greg Baker are doing ones that look pretty cool. I'm sure there's a couple other guys that are doing it that I missed, but there's a lot of guys making some pretty cool little 2-inch by 2-inch dioramas.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. There's some really nice ones out there. It's not only that. I mean, doing it that small is
it's limited.
Really, yeah. I mean, it really tests your creativity level because you figure everybody else is going to be thinking along the same lines, and you have bigger space.
Well, if you're doing N scale, it's different.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe. I mean, 2 inches N scale is still small.
Yeah, it's still tiny.
But, I'm going to do one. I have an idea, actually, of what I'm going to do. I have a...
You better be cracking, man. It's a 10th.
I got 16... You know how I am, Dad. I got 16 days. I'll be up on the 25th cranking it out.
Now, we have that coming up. And we also have coming up the build, our live group build. We're going to be starting that here at the end of the month, and for most of you, a lot of you have already gotten picked up your kit from Ron at My Mount Models, and it's the Wiley's Tavern. So if you haven't, get yourself over there and get it as soon as you can. But we're getting ready to crank that baby up.
Get it sooner than later now because.
We're starting up March 29th.
It's
so
coming.
It's not like it's a couple weeks, and
I'm very excited.
We have the show this week, so we have that coming up, and we're gonna do a good time, have a good time. We're gonna do a good time. We're gonna do a good time with that.
We are definitely gonna do a good time.
Yeah, and then of course next week on our show, we'll talk about here tonight is Doug Fiscali from Foscale Models, and I'm excited to have him on. Now, we're going to talk about, I want to strictly make this show with him about techniques. This guy loves to throw techniques at people.
Original ones.
Yeah, and give you his ideas on some things on how to do things, and ideas he's picked up from other people too, for that matter.
He's not afraid to
right,
pass along other people's ideas.
And we've had him on the show many times, and a lot of the times that we've had him on, we wanted to get to techniques, and we weren't able to because we were talking about a lot of new products and things that come out like that. So I'm going to avoid, if we can, any new products, unless he has something he wants to pump out there, and I think he does with one of his background kits that he just put out. But we won't dwell on that too long. We're going to stick to working on techniques only. So in the meantime, this week on Facebook, on our group page, I am going to put up a post asking, not on our group page, on our regular page, for questions for Doug. And I want them to be all technique questions. Don't go asking, when's this coming out? When are we doing that? What's your next plan? What's your inspiration? Blah, 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 blah. We've heard it. If you want to hear that, go back to the other 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different shows we've had with him and look that up. Okay. But as far as this show, it will be all about your techniques, things that you have questions on, or asking him about how he would do this or how he would do that, or how he gets this kind of effect, or that type of thing. That's what we're working with.
This is your opportunity to look over everything that he's built.
Yep.
And ask him like, hey, I really want to do this thing you did. How'd you do it? Because Doug's one of those guys that not only enjoys obviously he enjoys when you buy kits, but aside from the, I hope Doug does. We'll ask him next week. But aside from selling the kits and the business side of it, Doug's also very much like the rest of us, where he enjoys information and he enjoys sharing art. Doug's a businessman, and he's very good at what he does because we all buy his stuff. But at the same time, Doug's also an artist, and he has a passion for seeing what other people do, whether you're the next George Celios or you're just starting out. Obviously, many times Doug has said he likes just seeing what everyone does.
Right.
So he's very willing oftentimes to share techniques. And actually, I think sometimes he's even said, in his instructions and stuff, to just email him. If you have questions about something, just email me. Like, he leaves it very open to just reaching out to him and asking for assistance on builds and stuff.
I sent him emails before asking questions.
Yeah, I remember you've had questions on some things you were working on, and actually with your current diorama, you had some questions, and he got back to you and told you kind of.
Well,
there
techniques. I just kind of reached out. I went directly to him, but
you know what I mean, though. But he enjoys sharing ideas and techniques.
He does.
So next week will be fun.
They're great ideas. And I don't always even though I've asked him for advice, I don't always use it exactly the way he described it. I mean, he's given me a launching off point on some ideas, which is good. But so anyways, next week that's an exciting time. We're looking for that, and then in the month of April, I'm going to be shooting to get some other guests on for sure. So
nice.
It's I have someone we're working with, and it's Scott Mason is one I want to get on again and do the exact same thing that we're doing here, which will be all Scott.
That was another fun one.
It'll be all techniques. Yeah, we're going to try and get Scott on again in April and talk about all techniques this time. Same deal. Where we just, that's what we want to start loading you people up with. Tips, tricks, and techniques and things like that from these milers. And that's what we originally started out as, and that's what we want to kind of get back into. So
I have a couple questions lined up for Doug as well. So I'll keep it limited. I'll try and just keep it to 4 or 5 dozen.
No, we're gonna load them up.
But
there's gonna be a lot of question and answer stuff this next week.
I have a lot of questions for Doug, more along the lines of hang on, my microphone's getting all goofy here. Oh, there we go. There we go.
It don't sound any different.
No, not on your side, but on my side, I can see it's way different. I was having... Okay, so I made my microphone... I took my soundboard up the other week when we had a snow day, and I turned it into a sound machine. I turned it into a karaoke machine.
A karaoke machine for the kids.
Which was initially fun, and then it became quite terrifying. So I took my microphone up, and then they also have a microphone for a cheap ass like Frozen karaoke machine they have, and I plugged that microphone into my soundboard as well, and it allows me to use. I can power a microphone through the soundboard, like I don't have to have an extra power supply.
Right.
Well, then I took my big stereo up, that stereo I've had forever.
Yeah,
and I hooked up that into the output of the soundboard. So the soundboard fed into the stereo. I wired it so it could feed into that. Well, I then hooked my laptop up to do like a karaoke machine where from my laptop across the room I could stream music into my soundboard out into the stereo, and then the microphones were hot, so they could just pick the microphones up and start singing to it. Well, it ended up just turning them into them screaming at the top of their lungs into the microphone as loud as I could, for like an hour, and it was great. It was a great time, guys. I recommend you to never do that ever. You there, Dad?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, if you have a soundboard, and you do that for your children, either get some earplugs ahead of time, some good ear protection, good earplugs, or just forget it. Just take my word of advice and either wear earplugs or just skip the idea. Because my neighbors probably thought that we were murdering cats in our house. It was awful. It was just... They were just screaming. Anyways. Plus, then there was a feedback because it was so loud in the stereo, it caught it in the mic, even though I had the gain turned down, and it was doing that like awful... shrieking, piercing, like ringing noise. Oh, it was terrible. Anyways, we're moving on.
So I got a couple things today. We're going to talk about the things we've been doing, and we're going to work that into detailing a scene and adding the extra things that you want, not just what comes with a kit or any kit, but detailing a scene with how you can enhance your kit by making it better, by adding other things that didn't necessarily come with the kit.
Yeah.
And that type of thing. So, and how we put the placement of those things into thought. So, so let's start with what you've been working on. You have your,
so I did Last Chance Gas from Crescent Creek Models, and I don't even have it with me because I took it to work now. It's not even sitting down here for me to look at and talk about. But let me pull up some of the pictures I have of it so I can talk. Like,
how'd that go at work, by the way?
Well, good, kind of. Because
what do you mean, kind of?
Well, it went well. I mean, it wasn't bad.
Okay, I didn't know how your coworkers liked it.
They liked it. I thought it was cool.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't really work in an office right now, because
that's true.
I'm in an apartment. This is a long story. My marketing team grew pretty large, pretty quick, and the building we were in was running out of space, and we have some old, empty buildings that we own, in a different area, like down the street. They used to have tenants in them. Now they're just like empty business, and empty buildings are business owns. So we took over that temporarily until we can move back into the newly remodeled office space. So we're in a temporary place right now. An old building we had. It's a temporary office until we can move back. Okay. But I just call it the apartment because it feels like we're stuffed in like this little. Feels like we're stuffed in like a condo. But it's all right. It's funny. It all works out. But with that, I have it over there. I'm with the same 4 people every day, so they saw it, but it wasn't like, they see pictures of it all the time too. So they thought it was cool to finally like see it in person. But they've seen it already on my Facebook.
True. But I know when I've
Are you filing your nails?
People, I'm actually filing. I'm actually filing pieces to this kit while we're talking.
Anyways,
stop. I'm sorry.
They did think it was neat. But I can't wait till like the rest of my office when I am back in my main office can see it.
Yeah. Now here's the thing: when people see it, even people who have seen it before online with pictures and things like that,
the main comment I get is how much smaller it is.
Yeah, exactly. I had no clue it was that small. You know, I've taken my work that I've built to show other people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Todd, I didn't know it was that tiny." You know, and so that's something you hear all your life.
I mean, I've been hearing it ever since I got married. So, anyways,
no,
it runs in the family.
No, yeah.
I'm kidding. Anyhow. All right, so let's talk about my diorama. I mean, it wasn't much different from the last time I posted pictures of it, except I added some static grass like tufts. I painted those people. I put 4 people on it, and I added those vehicles. One's like a rusted out car. Got a guy leaning on it, and with another guy around the back corner. They're like, he's leaning on the side of the building. They're both kind of just like in the back of the shop. It's like a garage and a warehouse, a garage and a gas station. So they're like in the back, kind of maybe on a smoke break, just leaning on the junk car, leaning on the building, chatting, shooting the shit. And I got in the front. Did you notice that in that rusted out, busted up car that I put the engine block in it?
No.
Oh yeah, you got to zoom in on the car.
I'll have to do that.
I put an engine block. I found a cast metal engine block, and I put it in there.
I didn't even know you had something like that.
But now that I zoom in on it, I left a little line where you ever see the castings and you forget to take the line off, like down the center? Yeah,
you forgot to file that line.
Yeah, I forgot. I went over the car pretty well, and then I just realized that I did not go over the top of that engine block well. After I zoom in, I see it, and I'm like, dang it, now I want to fix it, but I won't. People I work with won't know the difference.
No.
I threw some junk in the back, like an old axle on the door. But then in the front, I put a car that wasn't disheveled. And
I see the engine block. Where did you find that?
It was in that bag that I got when we went up to that hobby shop near.
And it fit in the hood.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Well, I put it down first, and then the car body's hollow, so I put it down first, and then I glued the engine block down, and then I put the car body over top of it.
Oh, then you put the car over top of it. That's badass.
Yeah, because if they didn't remove the engine block, it could have just sat there. They took other parts off of it. And the old engine block's still sitting in there.
Yeah.
So otherwise, it would just have been an empty like engine bay.
Then you got like a pile over here with a car door.
An axle,
yeah. Tire, and that's the kind of stuff we're talking about here.
So, and then the dudes are leaning on it.
Yeah, I see.
Actually, if you do the one photo, oh my God, let me send this to you real quick while we're talking.
The one photo of the blonde guy,
his ass is hovering.
What?
What?
What about his ass?
Wait, what? I'm sending you a photo real quick, and then let me tell me what you're seeing about the blonde guy. His pants match the line of the green line perfectly.
Yeah, they do that.
Anyways, what the blonde guy?
Well, he looks like with the blonde hair, it looks like a blonde-haired the guy from the Capitals, Al
Oh yeah.
He's to play Alan May.
Yeah, Alan May.
Looks like a blonde-haired Alan May leaning up against the wall talking to a guy. That's funny.
Look at the photo I just sent you on Messenger.
Okay.
I didn't even realize this. The dude his ass is hovering in the air. The guy on the car.
Oh my God! He's floating. It's telekinesis.
Oh, he's just a guy. Really, he's just been doing a lot of wall sits. He's just really good at. He's got really strong thighs and quads.
That's pretty funny, man.
Anyways, and then in the front of the gas station, I did the guy with the oil can or the gas can.
That turned out great.
I think that was my best painted figure of the four. And then the guy that like was driving the car, just chatting with. He might have just got his oil topped off, got his gas tank filled up, and then he's just chatting with the gas station.
So you
attendant.
made a scene, is what you made. I mean,
yeah, and I even if you zoom in on the pumps, I put oil spills and oil stains around the pump because every time you go to a gas station, the pumps are just horrendous.
Yeah,
unless it's like a brand new gas station.
Oh no, it looks good.
So yeah, that was basically the scene. I took some of that. What's the name of that bush that we got? Lynn sent it to us.
Sagebrush.
Sagebrush, yeah. I took some sagebrush and I made some old dead trees. I just figured if you're in the desert, old dead, dried out trees still standing, it's appropriate. So, and Last Chance Gas would be in that kind of place anyways. So that kind of gas station would be in like a little desolate area with a sign that says, no gas for 190 more miles or something.
Did the mailbox come with it?
No, I added that. That's a best trains casting.
Oh, okay, cool.
From Balling originally.
Neat. So. Yeah, that turned out really good, Brett. And and that's the thing. You added these little extra details that did not come with your kit. Okay, and don't get me wrong, this kit comes with some great details.
It comes with a lot of details. I will say there's one thing I did. Let me do a real quick hack, and then I'll let you finish.
Yeah.
You've put those gas pumps together, correct?
I have. One time I did them.
They suck.
I don't like doing them.
I think they're titchy.
Yeah.
But they are hard to put together. The wire...
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of doing this.
The wire and the handle and getting that all... So I found a little bit of a hack.
Yeah?
I had some thicker string from craft store, just thicker thread. And it
looks more like an actual hose.
And I glued it together, in place, and then I just took a Sharpie and colored it black.
Nothing wrong with that. There's no wrong with that. Sharpies are the best hack ever.
I sat down here for an hour trying to bend this damn wire to try and get it to match the handle and the pump.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to take me forever. And then you bend it too much and it starts looking wavy and you're like, no gas line's ever going to look like, it got hit with a crimping tool. Like it was awful. And, no, you ever seen that squirrel? You ever seen that squirrel that was in a fight or two and it had that like a bent tail or something weird?
Yeah.
That's what the wire looked like. And, I was like, screw this. There's got to be an easier way. So I started digging through all my drawers down here, and I found a thread, and it frayed a little bit, but you got to look too close to see that. But I just cut it to length. It bent real easy because it's just thread, and then took some tacky glue, 2 dots on either side, 1 dot on either side, done. And then when it was dry, I hit it with a Sharpie.
Yeah.
It took me 10 minutes.
Good, I love how it looks. I love the whole kit.
Just saying, if you're going to do gas pumps, skip the wire and get a thicker thread from the store or find one at your house and do it that way because it took me 10 minutes to do both of them.
But adding those details is what we're talking about here tonight. And, adding those extra things, you look at it and you're going, what can I throw on there and just jazz it up? I want to jazz it up. I don't want it to look just like any other gas station, right? You want to put something extra on it. So you threw the junk pile in. And then now, did the old car come with it?
No.
So you threw the old busted up car.
So all of the details that came with it were the pump details, the signs, any details that are attached to the building.
Okay.
All of that came with it, like the meters, and it came with plenty. There was a chimney and a vent, and it came with a lot of details. I think there was like 23 detail parts or something. It came with.
Did it
plenty.
come with a soda machine, or you put that on?
I added that.
Yeah. And
I did a really bad job painting the word cola on it, by the way.
No, I like it best. It does say cola.
It's hand painted.
Like yeah, because there's got to be out in the middle of a desert somewhere. There is a soda machine where somebody took a freaking white Sharpie to it and said cola.
It's not the greatest handwriting, but I did it with a pen.
Well, there's all kinds of hand-painted quickie signs at gas stations like that. I think that's awesome.
There's one detail I think I'm going to add after talking tonight, and I might bring it home and do it and put it back out there on the one corner, Dad. When you look at let me get to it real quick again. When you look at it, the side, not the side. So there's the right-hand side, if you're looking at it, has the two cars.
Yeah.
The mailbox side.
Yeah.
I'm going to put
the mailbox side in the back?
Well, no. The mailbox side between the tree. Let me get there.
Okay, I see what you're saying. On that side of the wall.
Yeah, it's kind of blank. Not on the wall, though.
Yeah, there's just nothing there.
Between the mailbox and the stacked oil drums.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
But I'm gonna make a sign, a billboard size sign, like would be like
that's a good idea.
8 foot wide billboard.
Yeah.
Like they put plywood up, and I'm gonna have it face off the diorama, but angled like it's pointing at the road that would be in front of the gas station, like an imaginary road in front of the gas station.
Yeah.
And I want it to say, last gas for the next whatever miles.
Yeah,
I think that would
cool,
that adding a green road sign like that to the side of the road, like you'd see, like a DOT type sign, would be pretty cool to have, or not even green, just a sign that says, no gas for 95 more miles or something.
Right.
I think
that'd be a great idea.
I feel like that's something you'd see at Last Chance Gas.
Oh yeah.
So, anyways,
for sure.
And what's cool about that is the sign will actually be. It's on the diorama, but it's pointing off into an imaginary scene. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's making the scene in your brain extend past what's actually there because it's pointing off to something that's not there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. You
ever do that with a I'll get you to talk about your part now, what you've been working on, but have you ever done that with a diorama? And this would be a good question for any of our listeners. Have you guys ever built a diorama and done something on the building that, not just the building, but the build, that extends past the diorama, like near the edge, that makes your brain think about, like, oh, it must be a road here, or there must be something else outside the diorama that I didn't do that, extends the diorama in your imagination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That way,
sure.
It's not all confined to that little area.
Right.
So,
you have to do that. And that's a different, give it a different perception.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I love it.
What do you got going? I know you have your. Well,
I'm still working the tank diorama. So I'm still working the tank diorama, and I talked about a little bit last week on the show with Jason and James. I'm doing the back end of the building, right, which isn't designed to be modeled, and I'm not gonna, I got some inspiration from looking at a build that Kathy Millett did with her tank diorama, the same exact kit. The Kino Theater.
Yeah.
And it's, so the back end of that is made by Foscale Models. It's a 1/35th scale thing for military modeling. And on the back end of it, it's generally just supposed to be a blank wall. You're not supposed to be viewing it necessarily from that side. Mm-hmm. However, she took the initiative to build a collapsed floor. Okay. And I love the idea. And if it's copycatting, it's copycatting. I don't care. I loved when I saw what she did. I changed it up quite a bit.
She wouldn't care either.
Did a little bit differently. No. And
she actually likes it.
Wood and yeah, she commented on it on Instagram. However, there is some, I added some extra support wood on the walls and then, weathered the walls up a little different than she did. I added wallpaper to the backside of it in the lower section with appealing wallpaper and everything else. You'll be able to see some of those photos up online on our Facebook page. And I was there to that point last week, but now I started building the floor. and I put some joists on it, and sticking, like, some of them were pretty far out there. They're busted joists, and they're just like hanging off the wall.
Yeah.
You saw the photos I sent you.
It's insane.
I haven't put them up on Facebook yet. I will in the next night or two here. And then I built using her idea and following her video on her YouTube channel. You need to go check out if you're going to do something like this, or if you're not, go check it out because she's got amazing videos on there. But she did a series on what she did for hers on this particular model. So I used some of her ideas with it. I changed them up a little bit and built a busted floor system that fell with the support beams and the flooring boards on top, and then I even made a plaster ceiling on the underneath side of the floor.
Yeah.
And what I did was I took a piece of I have this plastic sheeting that I buy. It's basically like acetate. It's a Mylar type of clear plastic sheeting, and I laid it out and I poured some plaster on it and thinned it out and smoothed it out and let it dry overnight. I mean, real thin, like potato chip thin.
Brittle.
And,
was it very brittle?
No? I made the mixture of. I thought about that, so I made the mixture of the plaster thick.
Okay.
Like heavy. Not a lot of water to it, not too much water to it. So that way, when it dries hard and solid, and it doesn't just fall apart. Now, if I put a lot of pressure on it, it's going to bust.
Right. Well,
and I have to be careful because it does chip apart. So anyways, I wanted to get a thin layer of flat plaster and then glue it, break it apart in little pieces and glue it underneath the collapsed floor to represent the ceiling of the floor underneath it. And I did something a little different with mine. I stained it with some acrylics that are I painted it with acrylics on the bottom side. Like gave it like I don't know what color that was. I guess it was like a linen color, or like a brownish linen color.
Yeah.
Very, very, very light. And to discolor it, and just, that would have been the color of the roof or the ceiling. Then on the other side, the white part, it was awful white, and it was showing through on some of the floorboards and everything else that had the holes on. You'll see it. And I took some AK interactive dust. It was, it's the dust and dirt deposits.
Oh yeah,
and it's the light. And
that's a lighter one.
It's the lighter one of the two, and
which is nice to work with when it's not so harsh.
Right. Yeah,
I think it's a lot. It's a little more forgiving.
It is, and it dries. It dries up. It looks like dust.
Well, yeah, but oh, this isn't a pigment.
No.
I'm sorry.
This is the enamel.
My bad. I apologize. I thought this was a pigment color.
No, that's all right. And so I took the enamel and I mixed it with a good deal of mineral spirits to thin it out as much as possible. And then I just dabbed it on different spots on the white plaster, and it gave it like that old plaster look, not painted, old white plaster that just got old, and stained, stained more than anything else. And I did that. It turned out really cool. And I haven't shared pictures for it yet because I want to do it. I want to share them when we have it all, when I have it put together a little bit. But so I got those. Now her design example has one floor coming down. Okay, mine has one floor coming down similar to hers, but then I have another one coming down from the third floor to the second floor, and it's kind of just hanging there off the rafters. Mm-hmm. It's also at an angle in the other direction and smaller, and it will have some plaster on the bottom of it too. But I painted all of the whole sheet of that very thin layer sheet of, I painted linen on the whole one side of that. So when I'm done with anything left over, I'm going to chunk up into little tiny pieces, and it'll make it, and put them underneath to make it look like, the broken plaster off on the ceiling, laying in the rubble pile with the brick dust and all that other stuff that's going to be under there. So I took the liberty to do all that kind of thing, and it's turned out really, really cool. But there's accessories as well as I bought. I didn't talk about that. And it's other things I bought to enhance this model. Now, we've all done it. For example, when we ran the contest a couple months ago, remember we did that one big contest?
Yeah.
And Halloween contest. And Dave Cruzwick did his little diorama. And, he had a graveyard and all that. But, he went out and he got the pieces and stuff he needed to make what he was thinking of in his head.
Right.
And it turned out awesome. I mean, he went out and he bought a couple extra things to make it look and feel the part. And including some figures and such from mini prints. And so it was very, very well thought out, but he accessorized it and built it up and made it look, even that much better. You're bringing everything you add to it without overdoing it. Brings it to further life. So what I'm doing is, everybody saw my tank that I've already built, but I'm going to add. I went out and I had to purchase it separately, but it's called the Allied Vehicles Accessory Set, and it'll have like some rolled up tarps and backpack, military packs that the guys would have had on their back, those types of things, World War II era. Okay, for the Allied side, the American side, or the British and American side,
right?
And it's gonna go they're gonna get strapped down and attached to the tank in different spots. Because I've seen photos of tanks driving around that have all these the guy's gear and stuff, and these rolled up tarps and stuff on the back of the sides of the tank.
Yeah, I mean, well, any war movie you watch, that era, there's always a bunch of like, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it. Not luggage, but like gear strapped to the tank. I mean, not only was the tank at some point, and oftentimes in non-combat
they're like duffel bags and stuff like that.
Well, and what I was getting to is, you would also see tanks. Not only were they war machines, it also was transport for the guys and the tank crew when they weren't fighting. So there's guys living in these tanks while they're on campaign, basically. There's time when they're on base too, where they're not, strapping everything they need to the tank. But when they're out for some time on campaign, they're living in it, and it's like a mule that fires deadly, deadly. It's a mule that fires deadly munitions, but there's also gear that they have to carry. So it's not just the tank. It's like when you go, it's a very expensive SUV with a cannon on the front of it.
Right.
So they're strapping. So they're strapping stuff to the side, basically, is what I would say. Exactly. And you got to think of it more than just the tank.
Right. Sure. And then on
it's better word for it is, it's also life support for the guys in it.
It is life support for the guys in it. Right. Absolutely. So, anyways, I got that, and then on the back end of the tank, you'll notice on my original build, there's two what they call jerry cans, or extra cans of gas, and they're sitting in a rack that holds a whole mess of jerry cans, but they only give you two, right? So I ordered a whole mess of extra jerry cans, and I'm going to fill that rack up with jerry cans, because that's what it's built for.
But it only has two.
The tank's going to go out there and only put two in, and then there's some buckets for the guys that are walking around doing the, maintaining the vehicle itself, and so I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they came with the jerry cans. And then, of course, I bought this other thing from Tamiya, and if you ever built one of if like you get a kit from some people and they'll have like cardboard boxes that you can cut and build out in HO scale. Okay. Well, these are 35th scale boxes of rations, and the ration labels are printed on the outside of these boxes to make them look like World War II cardboard ration boxes, just like they had back then. And I mean, they are really realistic looking. And I'm
now
going
keep
to
in mind,
put them on.
This is much more achievable with your scale that you're working on right now than it would be for HO scale. I mean, you could do boxes.
HO scale, the Baxter's Building Supply and a lot of the FSM kits that you see out there will have George Celios put you cut out templates for making your own cardboard boxes. Well, I put a whole mess of cardboard box. Well, all his kits do. They have like in their junk piles. There's like cardboard boxes scattered all over the place. If you look over there on Baxter's right in front of you, you'll see cardboard boxes underneath the railroad tracks.
Right.
In that, underneath the that space underneath the tracks have risen and you go under. Well, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, no, I know.
In junk piles.
Yeah.
And off the loading dock. So I got these. I got those cardboard boxes that are ration boxes, and I'll build them and cut them and build them. And I don't know how many I'll put on. There's a million of them. Okay, but I also bought for the rubble piles. I bought these bricks from a company called Pegasus Hobbies, and they're military museum collection gray bricks. I'll have to gray them or paint them or whatever, stain them to brick colors. And then I also got some gray blocks. They're bricks or large bricks. They're almost like big cinder blocks.
Okay.
But I got all these extra bricks, and then I got the clay pots I'm going to smash up and use them for that brick dust and brick rubble. I'm going to mix that with the bricks itself. So I'm going to do all that. And I had to get these extra things because I want to really.
You're adding more to it.
Right. And then I also bought a box. And did it cost a little extra? Yeah, it was like $5 here, $10 there. Okay. But, it's cool. It's going to make it look cool. I want it to look as real as possible. So I went out and got this box called Wine. It's made by a company called Mini Art. And they're wine bottles and wooden crates. And it's like wooden crates filled with wine bottles, actual, plastic wine bottles. They look like real wine bottles, and they'll have the labels and everything else on them. It's amazing. And I'm going to put like a case of wine bottles and some busted up wine bottles near the rubble pile,
Uh-huh.
And I got some beer bottles too, and I'm gonna put the beer bottles in the rubble pile, and then inside the theater on the inside part that I'm fishing, and then that rubble pile, you'll find some beer bottles and maybe a wine bottle.
Nice.
These are the kind of little details that we're gonna throw in to make your kit come to life, and I think that's important, and and we're gonna talk to Doug about that next week too, about the things you can add to bring your kit to life, and it doesn't have to necessarily cost a lot either. No. Like I said, the clay pot I bought that I'm going to smash up for brick dust and brick pieces was like I don't know, like 75 cents at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, you don't need to go overboard and buy a bunch of crazy stuff either.
Right, and then some scrap wood that I painted and stained and everything else, and I'm going to put in piles and little pieces, and you just take those pieces of strip wood and you stain them, and before you do it, you break them in half, you snap them and twist them. It's always cool to take like a pair of pliers to the end of it and just twist the shit out of it when you rip it apart, and then you get all that jagged edge and some of the splinters turn and twist. It looks cool.
And it's, what's cool about that kind of stuff is it's random. Like when you're creating like a splintered piece of wood, or
I don't know how it's gonna look when I pull it apart.
You know what? This is a really exciting thing, and I get like really amped up when I do this. When you're a good example. I'm looking at it. It's 3 feet in front of me. When I'm doing those ghost pilings for old like docks that are no longer there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where like the old like 1 or 2 foot high or 3 foot high out of the top of the water pilings are still there, but the dock that was above it or the building the structure that was above it is no longer there anymore.
Right.
When I'm breaking those dowel rods, and then I've already made them look like they have wood grain. I've already done all that. But when you're breaking the dowel rods and like they snap, where you're trying to make a look of like busted lumber, and you're not, maybe not for pilings, but for other busted lumber, and it breaks, and you go, there's like that moment of excitement where you're like, ooh, like that one broke real good. Like that one's gonna look really good. And then sometimes
I had that feeling last night.
And then sometimes you break them and they're really clean, and you're like, oh, that was boring. That one sucked. I wish it broke worse.
The tweezers, and I'm twisting the crap out of the end of it.
I wish it broke worse. But when you break one, sometimes you break them perfectly, and you don't even need the tweezers. Like it breaks, and you're like, that's it. I'm done with that piece.
Yep. You know what else I like to do? Take a board, and there's 2 things. One, break a board, but don't break it all the way through.
No.
Just enough to it bends and it shows a couple of splinters coming out of the top. And then reinforce that before you stain it and everything. Reinforce it with a little glue inside the thing. Okay, like where it snaps up and there's like a crevice inside. Put a little white glue in there, just a little bit, and that reinforces it so it doesn't fall apart any further. Let it dry, and then do your staining and coloring and whatever else. Okay, and then you have that really cool board that snapped, but it didn't quite snap all the way through. That's one way. Then in real life, everybody's had this. You're out in the woods, and you have like a twig or a stick or something, or even a board that you're trying to break because you think you're a badass superhero and you think you can actually snap it while you're trying to make kindling or whatever you're trying to do for build a fire. I don't know. And we've all done it. And you go to do it thinking, I'm going to just snap that in half. But it doesn't really snap in half, does it? It twists and it's not. It kind of turns.
You get all manly and you're like, I'm going to break this stick. And then you just, it does just bend.
And you step on it, you're like bouncing off of it. You ever do
you're
that?
Trying to, the funniest one was like, when you're in Boy Scouts or you're going camping with a group of friends and you're like, I'm going to get some firewood. And you try and break the stick and everyone's like, Todd or Brett can't break that stick. Like, it's like the green ones. It's still green on the inside. And it just splinters into like a bunch of little pieces of thread.
But I've done that with pieces of wood already, where I've tried to snap pieces of wood, but it had a little bit of it was a little bit of a newer piece, and it just kind of twisted funny. When it did break clean. It kind of twisted. It turned. It twisted, almost like I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
But So that give it that look. One, maybe a piece or two. Not everything. Just one. Give it that weird place. And you got on this particular thing. It's a bombed out building, right? So, who knows? I mean, things are crashing and breaking and falling. When the building starts to fall apart and come down like this, okay, not necessarily taking direct impact from the concussion of it's more the concussion than the actual bomb going through, okay, or exploding things. I don't have lots of burn up things on here. This is the concussion from everything just being jarred and shook and broken down, right? So, yeah. So in that case, just show one or two pieces that got surely in the wreckage of something like that large, shit's gonna get twisted and turned funny, right?
Yeah.
Make all your wood fall down in the same place, in the same angle, have it going in different directions and such. So, these are the things that you want to think about when you're building anything, regardless if it's gas station or a 1/35th scale military model, whatever you're building. Let your imagination look into what you're throwing together. and say, hey, you know what? One or two of these things would be a good idea. One or two of this aspect or look would be good. Just don't overdo it, And then, that's my take on a lot of that. It's photographs. I was looking at a lot of the old plaster. I looked at I just Google image search is awesome for anything. A Google image search your, old plaster, stained plaster, whatever, crumbled plaster. I looked at it all the last 2 days. Okay. But it's not just that. Google image search, damaged, bombed buildings from World War II. And you'll see and look and see a million different ideas for how to do this. Now, granted, not a lot of you are doing, none of you probably are right now are doing any military modeling. But, in my current situation that I'm doing, yes, that's what I need. So think about what you're trying to model and Google that, image search that stuff, and see what you want to produce by other examples of real life. We've talked about that many times on here.
Right.
Photographic work and that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's all there. It's all there. So that's it. That's where I'm
I think you brought up a good point though. Like, a lot of people struggle for inspiration and they have no excuse for it because there's not even a million. There's trillions of photos for what you're probably trying to find within a 10-second search on your phone.
Yep. A lot of people never think to use Google image search. You just go to Google search, put in your search item, and then click, go or whatever.
And this has been talked about probably 3 or 4
tab of the images.
This has been talked about almost. Well, not every episode, but a handful of times.
Yeah.
Street View is amazing for this.
Yep.
I actually saw a building today on my run. I was running in Carlisle today.
Right.
I saw a building. My buddy and I were running together, and it was in a little alleyway, and it's an old print shop in Carlisle. And the lettering on the front of the building is like still, it's old. You can tell it's not been maintained well, but it's still in good shape. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of aging where it's like in really good shape, but it's old as dirt. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And it said Carlisle Print Shop, and I'm like, that is awesome. Like that's the coolest building I've never seen it in Carlisle before. So my goal is to get on Google Street View here and find that. And I don't want it to say Carlisle Print Shop because our town name's not Carlisle. But
you want to get that idea.
It was like a back alley building. It wasn't even a nice storefront. It was like I could make it with some clapboard siding and some leftover like corrugated roofing material, but use the roofing material as wall side, like siding. It was that kind of looking building. But the front of it had a cool ass sign, and I could replicate it and just change the name of the town, and paint it, to match it style wise. It could be almost the same, and then just change the name to Blackwater Print Shop.
I think it'd be great.
And it's not a big building. It's one of those. It's not a building that when you see it, it's gonna like just pop off the layout. But it's gonna be a cool little building. It's 1 story high. It might be 40 feet, 50 feet wide by 30 feet deep. It's not big. And now it's just a garage. What's funny about it is you can tell it's like a garage for a rental property now. But at one time, it used to be a print shop.
Cool.
A business. And I'm not going to turn it into a garage, but I want to stick it in like a weird back alley behind a building that it's not going to be one that you notice right away, but when you start looking around the layout and between alleyways, you're going to see this little tiny building with a lot of character just stuck somewhere deep within the town.
I think that's great.
That's the kind of stuff I think we need to do more of. Building closely.
Yep.
especially once we start doing some of these buildings, like the one I have down here, the Amherst Hotel or the Ashmore Hotel, and I did that radio station, the Bachman Spectrum kit. And I know we want to do a couple other tall buildings, but once we get a couple big buildings in and we start cramming everything really tight, I think the next thing to do in between those buildings would be to stuff those types of buildings in, almost like obscure scene, really obscure scenes deep within those buildings.
I think that's a great idea.
It's stuff that'll be underappreciated when you look and you give a quick glance of the city, and you won't see it. Like if we stand back from the side of the layout and you take a picture of it from 10 feet away or 8 foot at the side of the wall, you're not going to see it. Yeah. But when you're down here and you're spending some time and you're looking around, and then you like look behind that alleyway, oh wow, there's a whole little there's a business back in that, tucked in that little alleyway. That's the stuff that really, on the style of layout that we're trying to achieve, that's the thing that will, make a big difference.
On Instagram, I found this. Well, there's a guy on there I follow called Walls from the Past. You ever see that on there?
Yes.
Oh my God, I love their stuff, and I love what they do with the walls. I mean, I don't emulate it exactly, but I try and look at that for inspiration and ideas on how he paints a wall, and the detail that goes into it and all the different textures. I mean, if you get a chance, go to Instagram, look up Walls from the Past, and it's just insane. But that is those little walls that he builds and puts in there. They're like one-dimensional, but it's 3D, and he puts it in a frame then. And it's insane. And it's what we do, but it's just one wall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's what we do, but it's one wall.
Yeah, it's just, there's no depth past that backside of that wall. If you turn around, there's nothing there. It's a flat.
It's a building flat and a frame.
It's a flat, yeah.
Yeah. And it's sick what the guy can do. So I love checking that stuff out. And it makes me want to sit down and put that much work into that one wall, and say, you know what? Let's get this little detail here. It's every square inch. Now, obviously, that takes you a lot of time, but
it does.
It's just an inspirational thing. Go check it out.
You actually alluded to the type of diorama that I want to build for my 2x2 for the contest we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
I have this wall. It's a hydrocal wall that I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. It's one wall. It's one wall section that I actually got sent as like a sample.
Right.
It's just been in this drawer forever, and it's just a hair under 2 inches wide. It's perfect. So I'm going to build a flat. It's an old brick industrial looking wall, like the side of a warehouse, like the narrow end of a warehouse, like a loading dock. And I'm going to build that into my 2x2 inch diorama here before the 26th.
Oh, that's nice.
So, anyways, it's like that kind of it's like what that guy does on his Instagram page, or that person does on their Instagram page, where it's just one wall, and the whole scene's in front of it, and it's a lot of vertical space, but not a lot of not a lot of depth to it. Right.
Well, so I got a rant. And then we're going to talk about music, and then we're going to wrap it up. So, the rant is, I've been seeing these, how do I put this? Okay. The rant is, I've seen it on some people's models, not so much though on the models, but on the kits themselves, and I blame the kit manufacturers. I also blame the kit manufacturers. See this on Michael Mark on their boats. Wood boats and other wood boat companies that make wood boats. I thought about that. You ever think about some of those ships, those wood ships that they make?
Yeah.
I thought about making one myself, but I was looking at one of them actually today on Michael Mark, but I also seen them on other people's builds and in kits, and that is the American flag.
Yeah.
And the American flag done with a piece of paper, printed paper, and it looks like poop. People, it looks like poop. I'm sorry.
It looks like the moon.
If I'm spending that much time and effort building a large, tall ship out of wood, okay, and that's curving the wood with water and reshaping the wood and everything, and I'm putting all this little micro detail work in, all the wiring or whatever they call it off the masts and everything else that goes on. I don't know, it was wiring, but the mast, the ropes and such, all the masts. Okay, if I'm doing all of that, the riggings, I guess they call it. If I'm doing all that, and then on the damn ship, there's a flag, and it's made out of a piece of paper that you fold it in half, and it has a flag on one side and a flag on the other side, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it wasn't just on one of them. It was on like a bunch. And then I went to another site that all they do is sell. All they sell is, and I'm not naming the company, all they do is sell boats or model wood ships, okay? And I went there, and all theirs had the same thing. Hey, come up with something better, something more realistic to put with your kit than that paper fold in half flag that we would use when we were kids on the U.S. Army set we bought with the plastic Army men. Remember them?
Yeah.
They had a flagpole with a little plastic stone base, and you stick the flagpole in it. It was made out of a barbecue skewer, and then you put the two side. It was sticky piece of sticker. You fold it in half, and it makes a flag. That's all these things are, and I think it sucks. It looks bad, and I see that on I've seen it on firehouses, on the buildings that we make. And hey, if you got that on one of your firehouses or the town hall or some other shit on your layout, I'm going to tell you right now, break it off, throw it out, and find something else. I don't know what else.
You know what it reminds me of when I see something else? You know what it reminds me of when I see it?
What?
When you see the photo of the American flag on the moon.
Yeah.
And it's like stiff as hell. And it looks like it's covered in, it's like sprayed with cornstarch, and it's just straight. Right. Yeah, man. Like,
there's got to be something out there.
You invest all that time and money into those expensive wood boat kits, and then you put that.
Right. I just assumed not have the damn flag on there.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a flag. It wasn't just a flag on those boat kits. They had, some of them had like little extra streamers and stuff, and that could have been done with any type of special cloth or whatever. There's got to be. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I got an alternative to replace that flag, because I don't. I don't have an answer for you. But that don't look cool. Is all I'm saying. Go out and find something that looks cool, because it doesn't. It looks like we want to build these models, all of our models, so they don't look like what? A toy. So what we do when we're all done, we put that stupid flag on. Now, I'm not calling the American flag stupid, so don't take me out of context here. I love the American flag. Anybody that knows me knows I am a patriot. However, don't put that on your model if you want it to look realistic.
Right.
You put all that effort into. I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody knows something that I don't. Please share it with us. Let us know what you can use in replacement of a piece of paper folded in half and glued together that looks like the flag. There's got to be something. I don't know. I mean,
unless there's nothing out there, yeah.
Yeah, So, no, not if there's nothing else out there. You just don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah.
It looks bad. There's got to be something. There's got to be some kind of.
It's usually a larger scale than what we do, so there's got to be some small fabric flags.
Yeah, and that would be great, because if it's soft enough, it'll drape. Kind of like a flag would when it's just hanging on the pole.
Yeah.
And you could also give it some shape by adding like some kind of starch it, or put some kind of, you use white glue and dilute it and put it on cloth and shape the cloth and let it just dry. It's going to keep shape, and that there's things you could do, I think. Maybe don't make it an American flag, just make it a flag. A colored piece of cloth.
Right.
I don't know. There's got to be cloth out there too that has little American flags on it at small size. We'd have to search for it, but find a pattern that has a piece of cotton that has, maybe it's a pillowcase or some kind of material like that at Joann Fabrics. It has lots of little mini American flags all over it. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Right.
But so that's it. That's my rant.
That's a good one. I never actually thought of that until you just brought it up, but it doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So music.
Well,
what's your music today? Because I got some interesting. I've been listening to some interesting.
You go first because you hit me blindsided with that. I wasn't ready. So you go first, and then I'll come up. I'm going to look up my music history here for this week, and then I'll go.
Okay. Well, I was listening to who was it that told us? One of our guests told us to listen to the Royal Blood. Who was that? It was Ron. I don't like it. Just my personal opinion. I tried it. It's fine. Okay. It's okay. It's just not my thing. Okay, but I did try it and listen to it. But most people aren't going to listen or like the things I like. So,
most of the people aren't going to. I think everybody's going to not like the things I like.
But I was listening to. We were in Valley Forge this weekend with my wife, and I went down there to Philadelphia area, and we went and did Valley Forge and toured the national park of Valley Forge, where Washington had his troops in 1777 to 1778 in the winter to prepare them for battle with the British and enforce and build his military. Anyhow, we went there, and I got into it, Nothing was open. The visitor center was closed and everything. So you had to go off of, whatever you could find on your phone and research some material or I took a book along too. And me in a book, I'll stand out there in the middle of the field and just read from it. But I got into the music thing of it. So I was listening to songs of the American Revolution, songs of the Revolutionary War. And so I was listening to that. It was a lot of fife and drum kind of thing. And I got into that. And then that was just recently.
Right.
But for a week, I've been at work and at my workbench, in my office too, listening to a guy named Doc Severinsen. And years ago, before your time, there was a Johnny Carson show. And Doc Severinsen was his band. They had the Doc Severinsen Band. And he did all the music for the show when they would go to commercial break and come back, and just like the Tonight Show today does. And they have, or like David Letterman had, what's his name, the little squirrely guy. That he had his band. So we had, so Doc
what was
Severinsen,
that guy's name? I forget his name.
Can't remember what his name is. Wally or I don't. It was, but anyhow, little bald guy.
Yeah.
So anyhow, they had. So Doc Severinsen had. It's a lot of like brass and jazz, trumpets and trombones, trumpets, saxophones, that kind of thing, and wind instruments, and it's all good. He's got a cool band. It's jazzy.
Right.
So I was listening to that. He's got amazing stuff out there, and you just kind of put it on, shuffle and let it go. And Doc Severinsen, I was listening to him. It was neat. It was kind of brought me back to when I was younger, and I used to watch the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Right. My playlist is on Monday I was listening to the Squirrel Nut Zippers again.
Yeah.
I love that band.
Yeah, I know you do.
I've been super into them. And then actually...
I don't like them.
What?
I tried listening to that too.
That's fine.
It's just your thing. You won't probably like Doc Severinsen.
Yeah, well, to each his own. And then, yesterday I spent most of the day listening to Breaking Benjamin. I was in a Breaking Benjamin mood.
Yeah, Breaking Benjamin. I like.
And then that was it. I didn't listen to music today, actually. I was in meetings all damn day.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. So that's it. That's a wrap, man. Next week we got Doug. That's it. I think we call it a night. What do you think?
I'm fine with that.
Cool. See you later, folks.
All right. Have a good weekend. Later.
Peace out.